right. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Loyal Sons podcast. How's everybody doing this evening? It's your boy George Brisbane. I'm in here with my boys Aaron Duncan, Denzel Johnson, and the always fly Steve Frederick.
Too cool, Steve.
Oh yeah,
Steve. That's what we call him. How's everybody doing this evening?
good man. Under these circumstances we got going on, but I'm good.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
Let's
go. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start off with a moment of silence for the late George Floyd, another unarmed murdered black man by the police. Man, let's go ahead and just get a little moment of silence in for him. All right, man, we good, man. So yeah, I know with that on everybody's mind and everybody's heart, man, we're gonna do our best to just do what we do with the show today. So I of course had to represent. That means get off. That means you're killing me.
Yeah.
If you don't know.
If people just listening, Denzel representing. He's got the official "I Can't Breathe" shirt on. I mean,
Black and proud hat.
Proud hat. Doesn't speaks for itself, man. Like, it's sad. 2020, just like we talked about yesterday, our last Rooney Rule in 2020, the things we gotta do to get a job. The things we gotta do just to live.
Yeah, just to stay alive.
Just to stay alive for a normal traffic stop. Like,
yeah, man, it's crazy. It's like the more you think about it, it's like it's really nowhere safe that you can be as a black person. Period.
You can't even be in your apartment.
You can't be
in
a
house,
apartment, church,
nowhere. I mean, it's like where do we go to have a safe haven for us? It's just nowhere you could go. You could just get violated. Even safe space. So it's tough, man. It's definitely been a real tough week, like as far as everything that's been going on. So it's kind of a good relief to get it a little bit of something else to talk about on our mind. So I'm kind of looking forward to the podcast, but it's definitely been a tough week, man, with everything going on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm up here in Rhode Island. Our gyms are closed, and I really want to go for a run. I was on the phone. My mom was just like, I think I just might go for a run later this week, and she told me I don't think that's a good idea right now. And
yeah.
That my mom's she's looking out for my well-being, but it's just like I'm a target. Black man just running around. Ain't no telling what can happen, And
see what just happened.
I've been here 3 years
in Georgia.
Yeah, I've been here 3 years, and I've seen like maybe enough black people to count on my hand in my neighborhood. So, and granted, since I've been up here, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had any issues with the law, any issues with people. I'm very blessed, to say that I haven't had any run-ins and stuff like that. But with things going on and everybody just being on edge, you just never know. And my mom's really just looking out for my best well-being, love and appreciate it.
I spoke to my mom about it earlier too. She said the same thing. Like, matter of fact, I want to say a week or two after the last incident, I was actually running in my neighborhood, and one of my neighbors, I don't know who he was. He's a white guy. We were running like almost head to head on the same side, and he went to the other side when he saw me, but he had like this look like, let me get away from him. It wasn't like, oh, we about to bump into each other, excuse me. It was like, oh, let me stay away from him. And I looked at him. He looked at me crazy. I looked at him crazy, but I caught him off guard because I just started clapping. And he's looking at me like, I said, I'm trying to be like you. You're running and I'm walking. And he was like, oh, thank you, man. I said, yeah. So I killed him with kindness right there. We're not all out to get you. We're not all murderers, robbers. I'm out here trying to get an exercise just like you in my neighborhood. So you don't got to be afraid of me. You don't have to be afraid of us, yo. That's real.
But the thing that I hate is that we have to do that. Like, people who don't look at us have the ability to be whatever personality or be whoever they want to be. We can't do that. We have to, like, we've all walked behind a woman that doesn't have the same color skin as us. I know me personally, I always walk wide enough so that she can see me coming. Just because I don't want any issues, but I hate the fact that we have to do that.
Right.
I'm gonna start doing stuff like they do, like when a bunch of white people get on the elevator, I might grab and check my wallet.
Yeah. Make my car alarm go off when they walk past. You gonna hear my doors locked.
Lock my door, right? I was startled.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were gonna do, white woman. I had no idea.
Scared for my life out here.
Yeah, man, we happy we can. For those of you who pay attention and watch us, man, we happy we can take your mind off everything for a little while. And I want to say we've been kind of tame in the previous episodes. I don't see that happening this episode. I think it's going to be some debates and some arguments going on, but I'm looking forward to it.
all in good fun though.
Oh yeah, always in good fun. Always, of course.
So today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about everybody's top 10 list. ESPN a couple weeks ago released their top 10 list of NBA players. It sparked a little controversy, and I didn't disagree with it, but everybody has their own opinion. Of course, the Loyal Sons podcast, we have our own opinion, and we're gonna kick it off. Who wants to go first? I've seen all the lists. I've seen everybody's list.
I feel like I should go last because I know for a fact the top of my list is different from everybody else's. I know that for a fact.
I know for a fact mine is different too, though. So you already know it's gonna set up between me and Iron. It's always set up between me and Iron.
I don't know, man. Steve been quiet. I think Steve about to pull out some stuff too.
I'm curious. Go ahead, Steve. You should start this one off then. Yeah.
I started off just because y'all brought me up, but I think my list it's not that bad. It's pretty conventional for the most part. I think it's not really too much surprises there. I would say maybe just the order a bit, but
hold on,
I'll go ahead and start.
Steve, go ahead. Read your list. You want me to read off the listeners for you? For those of you who don't know what the NBA's ESPN's list was, I'm going to count it off for you. The ESPN had it as Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, the late Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. That was ESPN's. That was their top 10. Just for reference.
Yeah. And I pretty much kind of agree with that list. Kind of going back and forth about some, the order, like I said. But I'll just go ahead and read my order off. First, of course, the real GOAT, the all-time GOAT, MJ, number one, and number two. I gotta give respect to the current best player in the league, in my opinion, overall best player in the league. That's LeBron James at 2. 3, Kobe. I don't know. I gave Kobe 3 because everything that he's done for the game, legacy wise. I feel he's kind of more relevant to today's, players and people who look at a top 10 list. So I put him at 3. RP Kobe. 4, I got Kareem at 4, Magic at 5, Bill Russell at 6, Larry Bird at 7, Tim Duncan at 8. I got Shaq at 9, and then Wilt Chamberlain at 10. So, like I said, my list is pretty straightforward. Not too many surprises there.
Nice solid list.
Yeah, like I said, the order, people might change the order around for players, but no, I don't think it's too many surprises on my list, so I feel my list is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a real solid list.
Yeah.
I can dig with that list, especially with the top 4. I mean, Kareem, Magic, is always a toss-up for most people and stuff like that. And you pretty much had what ESPN had, just mix it up a little bit and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking. I mean, like, it's other players that's I think maybe potentially could be replaced on this list. Mm-hmm. But right now, with what they've done and what these players done, I still got to give these players that's on my list respect before I give these new up and coming players. Like I think somebody like KD, I probably could have added on the list. But I just think his legacy is kind of, grainy. Yeah, it's kind of grainy right now. He got a lot of questionable moves, and these players on the list, mostly old school players, and they stick with the franchise and, build up that one franchise. So KD was definitely a player I thought about adding on there.
Don't be bitter. Don't be bitter about him leaving your team, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm shocked. I thought he was gonna put KD on there. I just knew KD was gonna be on there.
I thought he would too.
For people who don't know, I am a OKC fan. Well, I don't know right now. I'm not following.
They're a playoff team right now. Don't abandon them.
Steve was a Milwaukee Bucks fan before they drafted.
Before they got good.
Never a Bucks fan. But, yeah, I was a huge OKC fan, and I guess people will kind of expect me to be biased towards KD, but I just think right now his legacy is good, but I don't know if he's replacing any of these players right now. Maybe in a couple more years he'll probably do something to get on the list, but
depending on what he do in Brooklyn, man, that's gonna be tough.
If he built up something in Brooklyn, I definitely think he deserves to be
two-time champ. Two-time champ.
Two-time finals MVP. KD is a two-time champ, but you got to look at what he had with him.
LeBron is a three-time champ, but you got to look at what he had with him.
Before LeBron went to the Heat, did they make the playoffs? No. Yeah. Before he went back to the Cavs, did they make the playoffs? No.
That's not the same team.
No. They ain't made the playoffs the year before he got there.
They weren't. They didn't make the playoffs that year. But that's not the same team that he joined.
That's not
Chris
the same.
Bosh was not there. So we'll get there. I don't want to start bringing this up right now.
Okay.
We'll bring this up when we talk about the actual franchises.
All right. I'll go ahead and drop my list for the people right quick. My top 10 list was number 1, of course, Michael Jordan. Number 2, Kobe Bryant. I just feel Kobe was the closest thing we ever got to Mike, and I think that Kobe's legacy was tied up as in he came in the league while Mike was still dominant, while Mike was still controlling the league, and then was with Shaq when he was growing into his own and becoming a great player himself. And I think that kind of overshadowed him, and nobody actually really appreciated his greatness. And then when he was doing his thing, leading the team and leading the Lakers, him and Powell and Lamar Odom and those boys, then LeBron was on the come up at that point, and then the league made LeBron James the face of the league, which put us in a position to not really look at and appreciate Kobe's greatness. But to me, Kobe's the second greatest player to ever play in the NBA. Third, LeBron James. Right now, if LeBron James leads my Lakers to a championship and another MVP award, it could move LeBron James up in that thing. But I feel like if he can make some moves, he can move up on the list. But right now, I got LeBron James third. Fourth, Magic Johnson. Fifth, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Sixth, I got Shaq, the most dominant big guy ever. Then I got Larry Bird. I'm a Lakers fan, but I got to give it to Larry Bird. Was bad boy. After that, I got Timmy Duncan, most consistent. Never was flashy, but just every game you knew what Tim Duncan was going to give you.
Yeah.
So you can't knock that from him. Number 9, I shook it up a little bit. He wasn't in the NBA's top 10. I went Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay.
I think Hakeem was very underrated. Played in the Mike shadow. Like couldn't win rings until Mike left. But Mike left. He took advantage of his opportunity. Mike was gone.
Back to back.
Got 2 back-to-back championships. So so that lets you know if he wasn't playing in the Jordan era, he could have been a player I think could have had a lot more championships, more than 2. I'm not saying he would have had 6 like Mike, but probably 4, 3 to 4, maybe.
He had a great Tar Heel too, Kenny Smith. What's up, Steve?
Kenny Smith.
Trash. And then 10.
Big shot, Bob.
10 running up my list. I went old school, and it was a toss up. It was between this person and Wilt Chamberlain, but I went with Bill Russell only because Bill was a winner. Wilt was very dominant and put up a lot of numbers and did things. If I had to look at it, like how many other 7-footers were we really going against? So, but when it all boils down to it, anybody that can go out there and win 11 championships, I don't give a damn what area you're playing in. I don't care what you're doing. And then when you look into Bill Russell's story, living in Boston, dealing with, the racial issues he was dealing with back then, to go through all of what he went through and still come out on top and be a champion and stuff like that, and then be a player coach. I mean, I just think that, how could I not put him in my top 10 list? So that's how my top 10 went. Like I said, not pretty much almost all the same guys at the end that ESPN had on their list. Hakeem was a little further down the list, but when I looked at it in my personal viewpoint of belief, I had to bump Hakeem up there because he's a 2-time champion, and I feel somebody that would have been, and even would be somebody well more known. He would just play in the Jordan era. It's one of those things.
Gotcha.
Definitely one I slept on, Hakeem. That went over my head. He definitely would have made my list.
Who else did you sleep on?
Got curious. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna tell y'all straight up. Like, I kind of went a different route. I didn't take it to where the ESPN list. I'm viewing it as players that I grew up watching. So I can't put Russell there. I can
respect that.
Yeah, I couldn't put Magic. These are players I've never seen. I've seen the highlights, but from me being a fan, from probably the first time I saw a game was when I was 5 to now. These are my top 10. So of course, Michael Jordan, go 6 for 6. Can't beat that. Definitely the late great Kobe Bryant, number 2. Like George said earlier, the closest thing we've seen to Michael. I was going back and forth for putting him at number 3, but I'm gonna go ahead. He is the best. He is currently the best player in the NBA. LeBron James, definitely. Outside of everything, he still is. He's a champ, 4-time MVP. Can't take that away from him. And especially with what goes on in the world, he's not afraid to speak up on social issues. And if you don't like his game, if you don't like anything about the man, you have to respect that because he does it for the culture.
If you can't respect that, your whole perspective is whack.
Hey.
Bars.
So number 4 on my list, and this might be a personal bias, but it was somebody that I grew up with, someone that was after Michael was my favorite player, Allen Iverson. Just hard over height, and if he had anything that resembled a teammate in his prime, he would have had a championship as well.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Number 5, I have Shaquille O'Neal, definitely the most dominating big man in our time. Here's where it got interesting, and this I put Kevin Durant at number 6.
Wow.
Because
wow.
In the last couple of years, man, the things he's been doing, he's won an MVP. Yes, he went to the Warriors. We understand that, but it was in my opinion, a smart move. What the hell, if you're gonna pay me to be on the best team in the NBA, I'm gonna do it.
I never said it was a brilliant move, but it does hurt your legacy when you win with a team that won without you. They don't need you.
1 game away.
They don't need you.
Right.
Like you said, Pippen was expendable. Kevin Durant is the definition of expendable because they won without him.
Not expendable.
They won without him.
Okay, the 2 years that they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, they went 8-1 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So no.
Who was on that team when they beat the Cavs, when they swept the Cavs that last year besides Bron? Who was on that team?
The year that they swept them.
Yeah, you gonna say Kevin Love? I know you gonna say Kevin Love.
Oh, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving.
No. Kyrie wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there.
I don't recall.
George Hill was the starting point guard. We had J.R. Smith. We had Bron.
Right. My mistake. But
how are they not gonna win that series?
The year before that, they beat them in 5. So
they did.
Toss the ball. But my biggest thing with this, and people just do not give him respect. It's one thing to join the team and say, I'm gonna just ride this out and win a championship. and go there and basically take over the team. He was the one taking those big shots.
But you
He was the one
realize
that got the Finals MVP.
he was the second best player in the league, and he went to the best team. He was supposed to do that.
Right.
He was supposed to do that. What was he gonna do? Go there and be worse? No, he only gonna get better. He was supposed to do that.
And he easily got the best skill set on the team, so it's not hard for him to be the best person on that team. I mean,
And you can't double him anymore.
Right.
You can't do anything anymore. He playing 1-on-1. Easy money. That's it. Easy Money Sniper. His Instagram name. That's Easy Money.
Exactly.
I don't know what he did. He still was at that time, arguably, because I think it was LeBron, arguably the best player in the league. But he went to the best team. He went to a dynasty that was working their way towards being a dynasty without him. So I feel like he stepped in the shoes and he did what he was supposed to do.
I cannot honestly call them a dynasty though. At that point. At that point,
Okay,
I can't honestly call them because
no, I wouldn't at that point. I wouldn't.
Right. But we'll get to that when we talk about the dynasty. But I appreciate your guys' input on that.
I will say this: they wouldn't have won the championship without Kevin Durant.
No. Bron had figured them out. He was gonna kick their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking partly because I'm salty, but still I'm being honest.
I can agree to that. I can
They
agree.
took them over the top.
They had nothing. They had nothing for LeBron. They had nothing for LeBron.
When KD got there was nothing like Bron said it when they signed KD.
There's nothing you could do. Nothing you could do with that.
I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna play, but that's about it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish the list now because that was definitely the surprise. I was no.
My surprise.
For 7, what's that?
That wasn't my surprise.
There was more?
Like like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen the list. And the list has changed, but I think my responses to the messages every time he sent me the list, I'm like, what?
I was so indecisive. With this. This was so difficult for me.
He changed the list about 4 or 5 times, I swear. At the time, I was like, what?
You know what?
Where are you going with this?
I didn't sit down and think about this. I didn't, and when I actually sat down and reviewed it again today, that's when I was like, wow, wow. Okay, so we're gonna go and continue. Number 7, I have Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Definitely the big, consistent key. 5 championships. Almost got 6. I'm not going to take away from the Heat. It was a hell of a series, So, moving on, Kevin Durant. I mean, it's not Kevin Durant. Kevin Garnett.
What?
Definitely in our time. Listen,
Hey!
listen,
I'm not shocked.
Listen.
I'm not shocked.
Time, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, how can we not say?
Hey, Denzel, he's on my list too.
Thank you.
He's on my list too.
Thank you.
What?
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. KG is a good player, but I mean, I don't know if I can put him top 20. Maybe top 20, but
He's on mine too.
There we go.
10, I mean, come on, guys.
I got Steve. I got one more for you. Karl Malone.
Now I'm shocked now. What?
I feel like in our time, definitely
Karl Malone.
a very underrated player. He got an MVP. He went to 2 finals. Unfortunately, he played against Michael Jordan. Possibly, if Jordan is not there, has 2 championships. Him and Stockton as a combination did not miss the playoffs in their time in Utah. That's something you can every year consistently went to the playoffs. You cannot take that away from that man.
Who you got at 10? Stockton?
Number 10, and this is George. This is the surprise, okay? Because it was Reggie Miller, but
Oh my gosh.
But I took Reggie Miller off. I changed. I made another change. And I have Dirk Nowitzki. And I'm number 10.
What? Dirk. God.
This is our time. This is our time.
That's a little better. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all keep this show entertaining. Before Reggie Miller, it was Ray Allen.
Oh my
Ray is one of my favorite players, but he's not gonna make anybody's top 10 list unless it's a UConn top 10.
Hold on, let me explain my picks. Okay, the Ray Allen, and then to switch to Reggie Miller. Big shot Ray. He knocked down probably one of the biggest shots in the NBA Finals history. That's where I viewed it. But when I looked at it again, I was like, all right, let me look at Reggie Miller because he's known for big games and big shots in the playoffs. Now, he doesn't have an MVP. He does have a finals appearance, but he went up against Kobe and Shaq, so that was the time. And a time when they probably could have won or he's contended for a championship, they went up against Michael Jordan. So that's where I was viewing it. Again, it's our time. It's, so we're not excluding, the other players. But it was difficult. This was a very difficult task for me. As you can see, all y'all like, was he smoking? What was he on? But I was going to be a little different than everybody else's. So that was my goal. I got a
shocker in mind too.
Okay, all right, I'm curious. So let's go on and move on and hear Iran's.
We got my top 10 list. I think we know where I'm going with number one. We got GOAT James, LeBron James at number one. We got Michael Jeffrey at number two. We have Kobe Bean Bryant at number three. We got Shaquille O'Neal at number four. I went old school. I got Kareem at 5. I got Magic at 6, which I think those two are interchangeable. I got the big fundamental, Tim Duncan at 7. Love his last name. I have Kevin Garnett at number 8. I also put KG on there. I got Bill Russell on there at 9. I mean, it's hard to leave him out of a top 10 list. He won almost every year he played. I understand there weren't that many teams, but he won almost every year he played. So It's hard to leave him out. And at 10, I went a little personal. I pulled on my heartstrings. I went Jason Point Guard Kidd.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Get him. Steve, get him.
Hey, Hall of Famer, and he got a ring. Reggie Miller ain't even got no ring.
Hey, that's why I took him off the list.
And he beat LeBron for that ring, by the way, too.
He did. And I hate that. I do, but he got it.
And he went to 3 finals,
He did, but he played. He went up against the Lakers, Kobe and Shaq. Then he went up against the Spurs. So I mean, it was tough. But he led a New Jersey Nets team that had no business playing in the NBA Finals. He led them to back-to-back finals.
Oh, don't take that away. They were the best team in the East. Don't do that.
Shaq gave business.
They were the best team in the East those 2 years.
It was tight, but who was going to score on that team? He had Kenyon Martin.
It was
he had Kenyon Martin. He had Kerry Kittles, which
Richard Jefferson.
Richard Jefferson was good. They had Keith Van Horn.
I'm not gonna lie.
They were
Keith Van Horn.
Kerry Kittles trying to guard Kobe Bryant was the funniest thing ever.
That's when people tell me Kobe got 5, I'd be like, he played Kerry Kittles 1-on-1 for a whole finals. He's supposed to get 30. He's supposed to get 30.
The only team that contested with them was the Sixers, and they demolished the Sixers in that playoff series. It was disgusting.
The Nets was the best team those couple years in the East. They
demolished the
y'all helping my point out. My boy deserves to be at number 10.
They demolished the Stephon Marbury-led Knicks.
I mean, that's personal preference. We give you that. I don't know. That KG pick might be.
Hey, 2 for 4.
2 out of 4 put KG on the list.
Yeah.
So that means when we put this list together as a group, which we're about to be shortly, he got a high chance of making that list.
I mean, I just don't feel like. But I don't know. KG, I don't know, man.
You got to look at
like a personal preference, Steve.
You got to look at the passion, man. Everything he did for Minnesota for one, even getting to the Western Conference Finals.
And the MVP season.
Mm-hmm.
He did play with a lot of passion, and he got a nice game, but, I mean.
He just ran up against Kobe.
Yeah. He beat Kobe, too.
I don't know.
He beat Kobe, too.
So honestly think he would have been like a championship caliber player on another team, like if he was in another era or something.
We got to ask that about KD too.
I mean, KD, I believe yes, because of his skill set, he can do anything really, pretty much. I mean,
but let's remember.
KG never went to Boston. He would never won a championship.
Let's remember young KG. Let's remember young KG definitely was a spark plug. He had the handle at 7 foot to cross you up and take you to the hole. So he kind of started that wave of the tall man with the handle.
Stretch forward.
Shaq
he did. Shaq? Oh, no.
Shaq had handles in Orlando.
No.
Yeah.
Shaq
A little bit.
Shaq used to bring the ball.
It was above average. He wasn't K. He wasn't KG.
Somebody 7 foot, 300 and something pounds. Shaq can handle the ball.
Yeah, handles.
KG. Remember, KG was sponsored by And1 in a time when And1 was really hot.
He had the spinning shoes.
No, that was Dada's.
That was Freewell and Chris Webber.
Yeah, trash
shoes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, we're gonna dive into more of Reggie Miller.
Gonna put this top 10 list together as a group, see if we can come to some sort of agreement.
Yeah, we're gonna try to put our top 10 list together and do a top 10 list of for the Loyal Sons podcast as a collective unit. We'll be right back and just check on us in a second. Oh yeah, we'll just jump right into putting the list together. This should be good.
I know a lot of my players aren't making this list. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. A lot of players. I'm glad you knew that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back after a quick break to the Loyal Sons podcast. Right now, we are going to put together and compile as much as a unified list as we can get. Top 10 NBA players of all times list for the 4 members of the Loyal Sons podcast. So I think we all know who number 1 is going to be. There's no point in debate. We can debate it if we want to. Aaron, you can put up your best case if you want to.
Jordan.
I'm not going to debate it. I just want the world to know I did not agree to that part. However, Michael Jeffrey's going to go at 1 due to me being outnumbered. However, I did win another battle. I did win another one. Coming in at 2 will be GOAT James.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no. You had him at 1. Where did y'all have him? Y'all had him at 3?
I had him at 3.
I had him at 3.
You had him at 2.
I had him at 2. Yeah, that's what.
So that means if you go by that, he moves up to that 2 spot. Cause I had him at 1. You had him at 2.
That mean nothing. Denzel had Allen Iverson at number 4, so that means he's gonna crack the top.
No, because he was by himself on that. I wasn't getting on there at all.
Where is on nobody else's list? So.
Where you have Kobe at, George?
I
had Kobe at 2.
And where'd you have Kobe, Denzel?
I had Kobe at 2.
I don't know.
Where you had him, Steve?
I had him at 3.
I had him at 3 as well.
Yeah, LeBron might have to get that number 2 spot then.
It's looking like it.
Yeah.
That's
We'll go ahead and solidify that. That's fine.
I thought there was gonna be a battle because I just knew everybody's gonna put Kobe being at 2. So when Steve said,
I'm surprised Steve did that.
When Steve said Bron at 2, I said, aha, aha.
Steve out here fucking up the whole.
Yeah, Steve. I didn't see that coming from Steve though. I didn't see that.
I appreciate it.
I don't like how LeBron fans always ride him, but I mean I gotta respect the game. I gotta respect this game.
Yeah.
I gotta give him that.
I'm not
If he wasn't a Laker, he'd have been 4. I'm going to put that out there.
So at 4, Steve, you had Kareem. George, you had Magic. Denzel had AI.
So we solidified Kobe's at 3 then.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, he's at 3.
So right now is MJ at 1, Bron at 2, and Kobe at 3.
I can live with that. I can live with that.
All right, so we're gonna move to 4. Steve had Kareem, George had Magic, Denzel had AI, and I had Shaq. So it looks like from the majority of everybody else's list, it's gonna be either Kareem or Magic at 4.
And you can toss those 2 up. Like, I mean, Kareem got the one in Milwaukee, you know, without Magic before he became a Laker and stuff like that. And Kareem's one of those players where I think nobody really appreciates his greatness as well either.
I don't think they do, because I don't think it was as flashy and
he wasn't flashy, but the sky hook was something serious.
It's unstoppable.
Right. He was the man in the 70s, though.
He was. He was that guy.
He even made a cameo in Bruce Lee's movie.
I mean, I know Magic gets all the headlines for Showtime, but Kareem was an unstoppable force. Magic was just getting everybody involved, which he did his thing too.
Mm-hmm.
But my vote would go for Kareem at number 4.
I can live with Kareem being number 4.
Yeah, I had 4 anyway.
I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
So are we okay with Magic at 5?
Yeah.
I had Magic 5.
Best point guard of all time, hands down. What's that face for?
Jason Point Guard Kid.
Jason is the 3rd best point guard.
I'll take that because I wasn't even going to expect y'all to say that much. I'll take that.
What's that?
We got it too.
Oh, Zeke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isaiah Thomas, man.
Isaiah Thomas didn't make anybody's top 10 list. Did we notice that?
He did. I didn't even think about putting him on there.
And for me, I didn't see him play. So that
was more so of a good team. He was the leader, but that team was solid.
Yeah. I'm
So
surprised nobody picked Isaiah. That's interesting.
We got Mike at 1, Bron at 2, Kobe at 3, Kareem at 4, Magic at 5. Let's see. At 6, Steve had Bill Russell. George had Shaq. Denzel had Shaq at 5, so Shaq is an option. And at 6 for me, I had Magic, but I had Shaq at 4. So I think it's like Shaq would be a good option for number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had him further down, but yeah, he's looking like a good option right there.
I'm agree with that. Like Shaq, like I said, his dominance was just.
Yeah, man, Shaq.
Second to that time.
It was
nobody can guard him during that Laker dynasty.
Right.
Yeah.
Get out the way. If you behind Shaq on the low post, get out the way.
You might lose some teeth.
Right.
Let's see. At 7, Steve had Larry Bird. George had Bird. Denzel had Tim Duncan. And I had Tim Duncan. So I guess we got a battle here with Larry Bird and Tim Duncan. However, I will say everybody had Tim Duncan on their list. I didn't put Larry Bird on my list, and Denzel didn't put Larry Bird on his list.
So that sounds like the deciding factor.
Yeah. If Tim,
cool.
By listening, he got to replace Larry.
The big fundamental can replace Larry. I mean, what did Timmy have? What 2, 3 MVPs? 2
or 3, 5 championships.
2 MVPs.
Yeah.
Clearly the best player on every time they won a championship. I mean, the last one with Kawhi is debatable, but still, he was dominant in every finals he played in.
What about Avery Johnson in the first one?
Avery was clutch, but he wasn't the best player.
He was clutch, but that was it.
He was all right.
Shot Elliott.
I'm just messing with you.
All right, let's see. At 8, we already put Tim Duncan on there. Steve and George, y'all both had Tim Duncan. Denzel had KG, and I had KG at 8.
Nah, KG.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
Larry
We're
Bird.
going Larry Bird.
Not even close, man.
Get out of here.
Not even close.
I can settle for Larry. I'll settle for Larry.
Not
We
even
keep giving it to Larry.
Larry was the last person to ever win 3 consecutive MVP awards. Like, and we know how they are with the MVP awards. The second that media feels like you won it enough, they're trying to give it to somebody else. So to say that you got 3 in a row is
Some people try to give it to Harden one year, then they try to give it to Giannis. Now, I'm pointing at Denzel, by the way. They try to give it to everybody but LeBron.
But they cheated Harden on one of those with Steph Curry.
That ain't got nothing to do with Go James.
yeah, dude. Because Kobe got
Go James deserves at least one more out of that bunch.
Kobe
I
got
give
2 MVP trophies sitting at Steve Nash house right now.
Hey, Kobe know why he didn't get them trophies.
One trophy.
Kobe know why he didn't get them trophies.
Right.
You know why?
His team sucked.
No,
Oh, that ain't why.
That ain't why.
Yes.
That ain't why.
Because of
Right.
that Colorado stuff.
Yeah, he was having too much fun in Colorado. That's why he didn't get them.
Right.
Which that has nothing to do with basketball. And I think one of them should have went to Kobe, and the other one I think was supposed to go to Shaq, though, wouldn't it?
Nah. Well, I tell people this: the 2 MVPs that Steve Nash won should have went to Kobe, and the MVP that Kobe got should have went to Chris Paul. But they knew they had done cheated Kobe out of the last 2, and they was like, "You gotta give him one."
Gotta get one.
Split. I feel it was a split because the Phoenix Suns team was amazing, and it was because of Steve Nash.
I'm gonna say it like I said in the group text. Steve Nash is a product of a system that's great in the regular season and doesn't work in the playoffs. That's why James Harden only got that. To be honest, that's why James Harden only has 1 MVP instead of because
Yeah. Okay. Right.
the media be like, hold on, we've seen this story before.
Exactly.
We know how it's going.
Mhm.
Right?
But hold on, is it about the playoffs or is it about regular season?
Regular season.
It's about regular season, but
If that's the case, then that 1 year Harden outplays Steph Curry.
It's about regular season, but to me,
You got to have your team in a position to win also.
yeah, you gotta have a team position to win. And
Yeah.
the MVP award is like I like baseball. I'm a Yankees fan, but I won't sit up and say I'm a diehard baseball fan. But the one thing I will give baseball credit for, they give the most valuable player award to the best player, regardless of what their team is doing. It's
Mike Trout out there winning MVPs, and his team is trash.
A-Rod was winning MVPs with Seattle, and they were
I don't even know who won MVP the last 2 years, but it was team like somebody from Milwaukee, and these teams aren't relevant. So yeah, I give you that.
They give it to legitimately the best player. And in the NFL, it's a quarterback award at this point. I don't even know why.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
If you play in your position, it doesn't even matter anymore. It's a quarterback.
It's the Mahomes and Lamar Jackson award next year. We'll see whoever they decide to give it to.
Might be the Dak Prescott
Hey, now you're talking.
or Daniel Jones.
Ooh,
That could be lucky. That could be lucky if you take a snaps next year. But
Andy Dalton.
But yeah, that's the big thing. The NBA, it went from the best player to whoever. It is whoever the media likes that year is who's MVP. Except for the year Russ won. I think they just gave it. I was shocked Russ got it because the media.
Oh, he deserved it. He deserved it. That was historic. That was very historic. And then anything that comes after now is viewed as, oh, he didn't get a triple-double this year? Oh. He didn't average a triple-double this year?
Hey, that's what happened when you set the standard, man. The league start looking at it like you're supposed to do it. And they don't appreciate it anymore.
Exactly. That's tough to do that for a whole season now. So when you don't do it 1 or 2 games, it's like, damn, he had a bad game. It's hard to average a triple double.
Because then the year after that, he averaged another triple double, and he wasn't.
He did it. Yeah.
The 2 years. I mean, I will say this: I think LeBron James could do it, but he just chooses not to. But
and if the shooters are not down about 2 more shots a game, I think he will average it because he averaging like 8 assists now, something like that.
It's almost he almost averaging doubles like 8 or 9 assists a game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's what he built to do. I mean, he probably could do it if he wanted to, but I don't think that his game will allow him to do that. You know, he got to do so much other stuff, so I don't think he's gonna focus on trying to.
If he could play point guard for the Lakers, he could do it because he'd be in position to get more rebounds.
I think what's crazy is
it'll take his scoring down a lot though.
Yeah.
I think what's crazy is, and I'm hoping the playoffs come back. This is like, I mean, Kyrie took the load off a lot too, but him playing with ADs that's a different type of beast. A dominant post player, he hadn't played with anybody like that before, so that takes so much off of him. Like Kyrie was taking over games too, but as you taking over for a point guard, it's different. You got to create, you got to get in the lane, you got to do this, you got to do that. He can just throw it down there to AD and just let him more work, and that's gonna open up the floor for everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the Lakers were balling before the season shut down.
Shout out George Lake Show.
We were balling before the thing shut down. We had the league shook. They were just like, damn, they done figured it out.
It was like they can't beat the Clippers. Okay.
Like Max said in First Take this morning, if it comes down to the Lakers and the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals, Kawhi Leonard is gonna overtake LeBron James this year.
When has he done that though?
He's overtaking LeBron James before.
When?
I know.
When?
I know we're supposed to be talking about the top 10 list and stuff like that.
When? No,
how about in the finals?
I gotta get this Kawhi shit off my fucking chest. Like,
he have Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker. What?
But who got the MVP though?
Because he was guarding Brian. Anybody who guards. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Anybody who guards Brian and holds him under a triple double is gonna get MVP.
Andre Iguodala got an MVP for guarding LeBron James.
For guarding LeBron James. Steph Curry.
He averaged a triple double, but they gave Andre Iguodala the MVP for guarding LeBron James. What did he do other than stand in front of him?
Listen, that means Steph Curry didn't do his job in that finals.
He did. After those first 3 games, Steph Curry went off.
Yeah.
Matthew Dellavedova had to go to the hospital because he was so tired from guarding Steph Curry. He had to go to the hospital. Came back, played okay.
To get flu.
But man, Steph went off. He should have got MVP.
But
three championships and no finals MVPs.
But this whole Kawhi Leonard bullshit, like, he is, if Kevin Durant doesn't tear his Achilles tendon,
or if Klay don't get hurt,
we are not talking about Kawhi Leonard in this light right now. We are not.
I think they could still beat them with Klay. Now, KD is a different animal.
It was going back and forth though, and at that point, when Klay got hurt, they were getting momentum. That's why if you saw Steph, as soon as he saw Klay go down, he like slammed the ball into the floor because he was like, "Damn, man, I don't got no hope now. Everybody hurt."
I'm with Denzel on this one. I think they could have beat them with Klay. Now, if KD was healthy, I don't know, but with Klay,
man, we saw that first 5 minutes when KD came in before he tore his Achilles. That man was cooking.
He was playing on one foot,
and he was still killing. He was still killing.
Exactly.
And like I don't want to take nothing away from them. I mean, they're the champs, they won it and stuff like that. But this whole anointing Kawhi Leonard as this, like I said, as this top phenomenal player, to me is I think Doc Rivers is overrated. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not sold on Doc Rivers. Like, you had, to me, one of the best collection of talents in Los Angeles twice, 2 incarnations of great teams, and you couldn't get it done. But I'm supposed to believe that he got Mr. Load Management and playoff Paul. Like, he let
man, that team was not that good, man.
That team wasn't that good.
Overrated as hell.
They weren't.
Oh no, man!
Blake Griffin overrated. DeAndre Jordan overrated.
On their own, but as a collective unit, they were perfect for each other.
That's all they did. They
had Chris Paul, they had JJ Redick.
All they can catch is alley oops.
They had Chris Paul, JJ Redick, Matt Barnes,
Matt
Blake
Barnes,
Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. Matt Barnes is a stopper.
that's it.
He's a stopper.
But like,
So I mean,
they didn't even make the.
But when you go, okay, but when you go up against Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, shooters, you're gonna lose. Like that, it is what it is.
They didn't even make like.
they missed the window. They were good before the Warriors got good.
Yeah,
They couldn't get over the hump, and they kept losing playoff series that they should have won.
Yeah.
So they didn't even get to the level they were supposed to, because they would lose series that they were supposed to win easily.
Because they weren't that good.
when the
I want to feel that the one year they could have won is when they had that whole distraction with the owner. I think that took all the air out of their sails right there. That was the one.
If they had just made one finals appearance, I could have gave them more respect. But the collection of talent that they had, because you got to think about it. Like, okay, Dallas came out the West and beat Miami. The next year, OKC. Then 2 years in a row, the San Antonio Spurs.
But OKC was good though.
Yeah,
They were.
3 Hall of Famers.
That's not exactly 3 MVPs.
But they didn't even make it to, like I said, couldn't make the Western Conference Finals.
Young team coaching. They had a lot of stuff going on against them.
But Doc Rivers supposed to be this great coach. I think other than Popovich, who is like apparently people say Doc is better, like one of the best coaches in the NBA. Other than Popovich,
I don't see how.
Like you trying to say me Rick Carlisle's better than Doc Rivers?
No, he's not.
You don't think? I think Rick Carlisle is. Rick Carlisle's champion.
I don't think he got a ring. That's true. There's a lot of great coaches that don't have rings though. So,
that's very true.
Hey, what about my boy Ty Lue?
Who?
He benefited from having LeBron James.
Hey, Phil Jackson benefited from having Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Shaq.
Somebody got to do it.
Exactly.
You're right. I want to say we're going to do this another time because next time we got to talk about coaches.
Yeah.
We have to do our top coaches list.
Those are the best
But
coaches.
Yeah. We need to get
so where are we with the
number 8 on the list, man? Yeah.
Number 8, we had Larry Bird. It looks like number 9 because he was on everybody's list except Denzel. We got Bill Russell. Because Steve had him at 6, George had him at 10, and I had him at 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
And number 10?
Number 10, there's nobody. Steve had Wilt. George had Hakeem at 9. Denzel had Dirk, and I had Jason Point Guard Kid. So there's no.
Who else had Wilt?
Somebody else said Wilt.
I said Wilt could have made my list, but I went with Hakeem at 9, and I had to put Russell on the list.
So out of those, number 10s, that's Wilt, Dirk, Jason
Hakeem,
Kidd,
and Jason Kidd.
Who we giving that one to?
I'll give it to Wilt.
Gonna give it to Wilt. George said Wilt because he's a Laker.
I give it to Hakeem.
How many chips Wilt got?
One.
Yeah, I think
You got one.
Yeah.
I gotta give it to Hakeem too. Then he got 2. Dirk only got 1.
Yeah.
He only got 1.
Allen Iverson got a ring?
No, he didn't even make our top 10.
No.
I'm just being
Hard.
man.
Exactly. Whatever. Hard over height.
So I think we're gonna agree on Hakeem.
Hakeem.
No, I can't agree with that, man. I don't know about that.
You don't agree with that one?
So who you got, Steve?
I don't know. I'd rather put KG there before I put Hakeem.
There you go. As a matter of fact, KG goes there because he was on 2 people's list.
That's right.
So KG actually does go there.
That's why I said that, because he did appear on 2 people's list, but I mean.
So KG does go there.
KG does go there by default.
Turn up South Carolina, upstate South Carolina, matter of fact.
I don't like KG there either, but
KG the kid, he got it.
He got it. He's on 2 people's list.
He got it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I appreciate you reminding us, Steve. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate that, man.
We could have made a terrible mistake, Steve.
Terrible mistake, my ass.
we could actually debate KG going 9 and Russell going 10, but I think we can leave it the way it's
Yeah, we can leave it.
KG better be glad he made the list.
So we got Michael at 1, we got Bron at 2, Kobe at 3, Kareem at 4, Magic at 5, Shaq at 6, Tim Duncan at 7, Larry Bird at 8, Bill Russell at 9, and Kevin Garnett at 10.
I'm cool.
We feel solid with that list. I think we did it as fair as possible.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that.
I mean, we didn't get Karl Malone and Iverson on there, but hey.
Or Reggie Miller.
Or Ray Allen. Or Jason Kidd too. Jason Kidd too.
Right.
At least Jason Kidd at one point was Reggie Miller was considered one time one of the best players in the league. At no point anybody ever said Ray Allen was the top.
That's why I took him off a long time ago. You know? And Iverson, of course, scoring titles, MVP. He definitely was one of the best players.
He was.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Never went to practice.
All right, man. The quote I have for the night is kind of touches on a lot of things that's going on right now. Growing up, I felt that I was a lot closer to Martin Luther King Jr.'s philosophy than I was to Malcolm X's. But the more and more things keep happening, I kind of feel like I'm having a shift in my beliefs. But the quote today does come from Brother Malcolm X. That's not a chip on my shoulder, that's your foot on my neck. I feel like that definitely aligns with everything we have going on today. With George Floyd pretty much being murdered on camera, and now finding out that they're not going to go forward with charges for the officers is crazy. It's pretty much nothing we can do to have the law on our side. I mean, it's been videotaped. There's evidence. It's everything. And then even with the woman in Central Park who called the police on a man for telling her to put a leash on her dog, that takes you back to the Emmett Till days when the woman falsely accused him of whistling at her. I mean, pretty much that's attempted murder, because on her end, you don't know how that call is going to go if the police come out there. Mm-hmm. And I'm tired of seeing it, and I feel like it's going to take people to stand up, no matter what color you are, to speak out about what's right and what's wrong. Even if you don't look like us, you know what's wrong. Yeah. So speak out, but become our allies in this and help us out. And then all lives will really matter. Because right now, Black lives don't matter. And that's why we have to keep saying it.
And I indicated that earlier. I said it's bigger than race. It's more about you being a human being and understand, like Aaron said, what's right or wrong. I really feel like your humanity is in question if you can't see some unarmed person being murdered on camera.
Right.
It's on camera.
On camera. I mean, you can't debate that. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand like how anybody can see anything differently. Like, a lot of these people are concerned about the riots, but I mean, what about the whole thing that sparked these riots?
What sparked the riot?
Putting a police officer putting his knee on somebody's neck for 10 minutes straight. I mean,
the man yelling, pleading with you, I can't breathe, I'm in pain,
I can't breathe,
yelling for help. Yeah, y'all, like I saw a video and it was accurate. The police were first responders. So the minute the man said, I can't breathe, I need help, y'all supposed to help the man out, not kill him.
It's just we gotta find a way. I don't know what it's gonna take to get society to move forward. And I've seen a lot of things that it's gonna take other people of other races and stuff, and people that I follow and stuff that have done a good job of speaking on it and being more advocates, because white America cannot continue to stay silent on these issues. Like, you have to stand up and talk about these things for everybody. Because I tell you right now, ain't no white person in this world that can tell me any different. They would trade places with me right now.
No.
No. And you know you wouldn't, and you know why you wouldn't. So if you know you wouldn't and you know why you wouldn't, that's all that's said right there. And things have to stop. Things have to change and stuff like that. Because I tell you right now, if that was 4 black officers and a white guy and they knee on their neck, it would have been a whole different story.
Charges pressed already.
For that one. Most definitely.
Charges pressed already. And I got another one, man. I'm a double quote. But this one goes to show what George just touched on and what I touched on. You're not to be so blind with patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong, no matter who does or says it. So
I like that one. X as well.
Like we said, man, even if you don't look like us, you know what's wrong. Speak up and speak out about it.
Exactly.
So everybody just continue to be safe. Everybody continue to, just, do better as people, do better as human beings, as citizens. And we just, there's nothing more else to say. Just,
right.
And that's for everybody. White America, Black America, Hispanic, Latino, everybody. Be safe. Everybody got to do better.
Just show compassion for people.
We gotta have compassion for one another.
It's crazy, man.
But fellas, I think it was a good episode. I knew it was gonna get a little live, but I came ready. I wore my Go James armor tonight, so I'm happy where he landed on my list. As on the group's list, I'll be okay. Anything else, fellas?
Nah,
that's it, man.
Said it all, man. As much as we can.
All right, man.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in and everything. Like I said, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so check us out, as well as the highlights on YouTube. Follow us on Insta. Getting that Insta page.
Like, subscribe, share, do all that.
Do all that stuff, man.
Comment. Let us know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, leave some feedback.
Definitely comment on these lists, and particularly Denzel's list. Comment on that one.
Hey, bring it on. Bring it on.
Leave some topic suggestions, whatever. Whatever y'all want to do.
Whatever y'all want us to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, if y'all want us to talk about something, let us know. Definitely. For everybody that follows Denzel on Instagram, I'm sorry you couldn't see your shoes. I know he normally, puts his whole wardrobe out, before
Got the Concords on, you already know.
I got the slides on, man. The Nike slides.
I got socks on.
Yeah, man. Y'all be safe and be easy.
Be safe. All right, y'all.
Peace.